Hey, thanks for stopping by and clicking on this video. I record under the artist name of Oddtech Audio. I have previous releases on Trax Records of Chicago, and I have two more releases that have been signed and scheduled for release in 2025. So if you want to know more about me and who I am, you can check out this video here, which explains my credentials, who I am, and why I'm making these videos. You can also visit my website at www.oddtechaudio.com, where there is some information about myself, my credentials, and some testimonials as well. So what I want to do today is have a look at some third-party plugins which will help your mixes match or sound professional compared with tracks that you hear on Spotify, Apple Music, Beatport, etc. So these plugins are very, very, very useful. I'm going to switch over to Logic here and give you some examples of the plugins which I recommend. Now, if you do like the content that I'm making, don't forget to like and subscribe so that I can then continue making more videos that will hopefully help you on your house music production journey. So what I have to start with is an Apple loop. It's a drum loop, has some bass and percussion elements and a kick drum. So we'll take a quick listen to that. So you can hear that it's just a normal drum loop with a little bit of bass and percussion, as I explained. And what I want to do is I want to try and get this drum loop matching the level of a commercial house music track that has been released, like I said, on Spotify, Beatport, iTunes, or whatever. Okay. So one of the first plugins I recommend that you purchase is a bus compressor. Now, your DAW may already have one, and if it does, then great, you don't have to purchase one. But if you are looking to purchase a bus compressor because your DAW doesn't have one included, I highly recommend that you look for one that has a sidechain filter built in. This allows your compressor to ignore the kick and the bass and only react to higher frequency elements of your mix, which then will help glue your track together and give it a more professional sound, just like you hear in commercial releases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play this loop again and engage the compressor. Now you'll hear a slight difference, okay, and change in level, but also you'll hear the loop sort of tighten up and sound just more cohesive and more professional. So let's just play that first. So here we have the loop without the compressor engaged. So now you can see the compressor is working, okay? So now I'm going to A and B it so that you can hear the difference in sound. So hopefully you hear then a slight difference and change in level, okay? Nothing too drastic, but you could also hear the mix tighten up and just sound a little bit more professional than the original loop sounded. Okay, so highly recommend getting a bus compressor if you don't already have one. But as I said, if you are going to buy one, look for one that has a built-in sidechain filter. So let's move on to the next plugin. So here we have an EQ plugin. And again, your DAW will have an EQ plugin included. If you're looking to spend money on an EQ plugin, I highly recommend FabFilter Pro Q4. This plugin is just so versatile and it enables you to do so many different things. Sound quality is fantastic. So I'll just give you a demo of this and show you what you can do with this. Once again, press the loop here, press play. I'll turn the plugin on. So there you had a classic filter sweep that you hear in lots of different musics. Okay, so this plugin can be used first of all creatively to give you special effects within your track. Also, the main purpose of this plugin is for you to be able to balance the frequency of your overall track. So you will add a frequency node here, and then you can either increase or decrease frequencies within your track if they are sounding too harsh or not sounding loud enough. Now, one of the things which is very, very impressive with this plugin is the options that you have when you add a node to a particular frequency range. I click here, we can see that we have lots of different options in terms of filters that we can choose from. And then if we here, we have lots and lots of options for the slope of the filter that you're going to use. On this one as well, we can then look at, again, the frequency type, so sorry, the filter types that we're going to use, and the slope here, but also the stereo placement. So this means that you could apply this EQ to the whole stereo mix, or just the middle part of the mix, or sides. Okay, so when you're listening to tracks and they sound very big and wide, right, that is the side information of the song, and you can then just click on this and change the levels or adjustments, the frequencies that you hear in the side of your mix, and also then frequencies that you hear down the middle, such as your bass and your kick drum. So a very, very versatile plugin. It has some other modes here, spectral mode, where it detects harsh frequencies that can be removed, so that you can then have a mix that sounds not unpleasant on your ears. Again, this plugin, highly recommended. If you are going to spend money on an EQ plugin, this is the one I would recommend. It's an industry standard plugin. All producers are using this to make their mixes sound professional. Okay, so this is a great plugin to buy. Next, we're going to have a look at a limiter. Here, I'm using the UAD Oxford limiter, but your DAW will probably have a limiter included. Okay, so if you have one, again, you don't have to go and buy an additional limiter, but if you don't have a limiter included with your DAW, then you know this is something that you would need to get. And this one is, again, a very good sounding limiter. Also, FabFilter make another good limiter as well. So those are generally considered to be the industry standard or choices in terms of getting professional mixes. Now, I'm going to give you a demo of this in a moment when I use a different plugin, which I'll show you in a moment. So I'm not going to play any audio with this one just yet. So another plugin that is useful is a meter. Okay, now this is the BX meter from Plugin Alliance. And at the moment, this is free. You can download this from this website, pluginalliance.com. It comes with a little pack of other plugins. So I think you just have to sign up, create an account, and then you can download these. And I think now that this plugin is included as a free plugin, whereas before you had to pay for this. And again, what's useful about this is that you can meter the sides or the mid part of your mix separately by pressing these buttons. And it gives you peak levels, RMS levels, and it also has a correlation meter included as well, so that you can check if your mix has any phase issues that will cause problems. So most DAWs will have a meter included, but if it doesn't, then highly recommend using this meter from Plugin Alliance. Then we have this plugin here, which is called Adapter Metric AB. Now this plugin is a very, very, very useful plugin that you will need to be able to use to help you get high quality sounding mixes that are comparable with previous release music that you hear on the major streaming platforms. What you do is you find yourself a reference track that you like, one of your favorite dance tracks that you think is very well produced, and you load it into this plugin here. And what you can do then is you can play your track and compare how your track sounds to that track. So I'm going to give you a quick demo first of all by pressing play here. So now we can see at the moment that we are listening to this loop here. And if I press this button, so you can notice that there is an extremely audible difference in level between my loop and that commercially produced track. So what this plugin enables me to do is to be able to make mixing decisions that will help me get my loop or track matching the commercially released track, so that when I send it off the labels, then it doesn't sound like it's lacking anything, and then hopefully A&Rs will notice your track and want to sign it, or DJs will want to play it because it's matched very well level wise and it sounds like a professional mix. So I'm just going to show you this now in comparison with the limiter. So if I start to play my loop first, and then I'll show you how we can use the limiter then to boost the level of this to match the level of the reference track. So you can see that using this Metric AB plugin alongside the limiter enables me to make choices then that will help me push my levels of my track or loops to match that of a commercially released track. Now, the other good thing about this plugin is that you can then segregate frequency ranges and listen to those independently. So if I press play now, we can just listen to the sub bass, and I can compare that to the sub bass of a commercially released track. So you can hear that the commercially sound track sounds tight, punchy, whereas mine sounds a little bit flabby. So that means I would need to make some EQ decisions with the sub bass in my track so that it sounds professional like this track here, okay, and has more clarity. So we can also then change the frequency ranges. So again, you can hear that in the bass end, there is more punch and clarity of the commercially released track compared to this loop. So again, it helps me then make mixing choices in terms of EQ so that I can then get my track comparable with that track which is commercially released. So this plugin is, again, an essential tool, highly recommended if you want to get your mixes sounding professional and comparable to releases that you hear on Beatport. So let's have a look at the final plugin, which is this one here. So if you're going to be mixing on headphones, then this plugin is, again, very, very helpful and very useful. So what we have is a plot here of the headphones that I'm currently using, Sennheiser HD 650s, and these are considered a flat frequency response headphone. And what that means is across the entire range of frequencies, you can see that there is very little change in terms of level. We can see here there's a dip at the low end in the bass. There's a little bit of a boost here around 200, and then a dip around the 700 to 800 area here. And then around this area, just over 1 kilohertz, there's a bit of a boost, and then a dip around 2 kilohertz, 3 kilohertz. And then we have a little bit of a boost around 5 kilohertz, and then a dip around 7 and 8 kilohertz. Then a little boost there around the 9 to 10 kilohertz. The problem with this is that if I am mixing and I'm not using this plugin, I will think that my mix is lacking bass. So I will then boost the bass content of my mix. And also here, I might make the decision to make an EQ cut, a boost here, a cut here, a boost here, a cut here, and so on, so that my mix sounds balanced. Now, the problem with that is if I then listen to my track in earbuds or speakers or on a hi-fi system or in the car, those systems don't have the same frequency response as these headphones, which means that my mix will sound different to what I'm listening to in these headphones. So what I need is a flat frequency response before mixing, so that any choices that I make to boost or cut frequencies will then sound good on all listening platforms. Okay, so I'll just show you what happens if I click this one here. As you can see now, this plugin is making some calibration or correction to my mix. It's pushing the bass here because there's a dip. It's reducing this area here because there's a bump. And if you can see here, remember the purple, that's my headphones, and the green is the correction. So it's basically doing the opposite of my headphones. And the result of that is this. So what I am listening to then is a nice flat frequency response from the low end all the way up to the high end of the frequency range. This area here is not too important because this is real low sub bass that you would want to remove from your mix anyway while we are making mixing decisions for our track. So again, this plugin, highly recommended if you are mixing and mastering using headphones. You then get a true frequency response of your mix in terms of how it would sound across lots of different platforms. So these are the plugins that I initially recommend that you spend money on if you are going to spend money on plugins. There are lots of marketing ads that are telling you that this plugin will do this plugin will do that, and I've spent lots and lots of money in the past on those plugins and not really had any major benefits from them in terms of my mixes. But then once I realized these are plugins I would say will definitely give you a pro sound and get your tracks recognized by either A&Rs or DJs if you're sending out promos. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you do, like and subscribe, and I can make more videos like this that will help you on your house music production journey. So thanks for watching and take care.